I am very sorry, but I have a problem with Pastor Enenche for this sermon. I'll play you the sermon, but before I do, let me just quickly tell you why I have a problem with it. Because I believe that if you hear why I have a problem with the sermon, you might also agree with me and have a problem with it too, and see the danger of this kind of sermon from Pastor Enenche. Pastor Enenche gave a sermon, and in that sermon, he actually called for a prayer, and the prayer was this: if it is the will of God that the person that was pronounced winner is the right choice of the people, then let nothing stop him. And if it's not the will of God, then let him not get there. The implication of this this prayer is more far-reaching than Pastor Enenche realizes. Because look at it. Let's face it. Let's face the facts now. The way it is now, the only thing that can stop Tinubu and Shettima from being sworn in, there are only two things right now, the way it is. Number one is if Tinubu dies. And number two is if there is a war. War breaks out before May 29, 2023. Those are the only two conditions. Now let's look at it. In the first condition, if Tinubu dies before May 29th, Shettima will be sworn in. Now, if Shettima is sworn in, does it now mean that the APC being declared winner is actually the will of God? Because if this prayer is okay and is allowed to be seen to be okay, then it means that once a politician does whatever he does and gets away with it, then it is the will of God? No, it is not. Because it's exactly what is bringing us to where we are now. The fact that once you do anything that is evil and you get away with it, then it is the will of God. And by so doing, we are encouraging other persons to also do same. There are a lot of people who do all manner of things to make money, but because they are not caught, they come to church and give testimonies. And you know what it does? It encourages others who know how these people made their money to also go and do the same thing to get their money. And also, if they are not caught, they will also come and give testimony. And the chain reaction continues like that. So that's why I have a problem with this sermon. I'll play the sermon very shortly. I'm sorry. But the second reason is if a war breaks out. If a war breaks out right now, it will not be a war. Because whatever it is that anybody wants to do, the government in power has already anticipated it. By the way, remember that they are the ones that have the government in power. When they were rolling soldiers to Lagos, many people thought that the soldiers were going to Lagos to stop the Agberos, the thugs, from disrupting elections. But I said it was not. And it happens that I was right. They are waiting for anybody to come and protest, or for anybody to come and cause chaos so they can unleash the full wrath of the law, quote and unquote, on such persons. So if a war breaks out right now, it will not be a war. It will be a bloodbath. Innocent people will just be killed, and at the end of the day, they will still have their way. Like it happened in the Biafran War. It will be a slaughter because the machinery of state is still in the control of the APC. And the international bodies, international community will support the government so long as the government gives in to them, stealing our resources. Don't think that an America or a United Kingdom will come and support anybody apart from the person who is in charge of the oil. The only way they will not support Nigeria is if Nigeria does not give them access to our oil and our resources. That's it. So on those two conditions, you see that APC still gets sworn in. Does that now mean that it is the will of God? It doesn't. I think by this time we should come out clearly, clear message, no ambiguity. No ambiguity. If not, many people will begin to read meanings to it that you're trying to, I'm talking about Pastor Enenche now, that you're trying to just free yourself from all the things that you said before the elections. That's how the meaning many people will read to it. And also the fact that just do anything, and if you're not caught, you're sworn in, then it's the will of God. No, it is not the will of God. Even if Tinubu or Shettima is sworn in on May 29th, it is still not the will of God. End of discussion, because the process that brought them in to office was fraught with irregularities, with fraud. And God is not a supporter of fraud. God speaks against fraud in very clear terms. God does not tempt us with evil. No, he does not. So, this is the message. See if you agree with what I said.
He said there are many devices in the heart of a man. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord, that shall stand. That shall stand. Whatever be the counsel of the Lord, let it what? Whatever be the counsel of the Lord, let it what? If the person that has been declared is the will of God and the choice of the people, let nothing stop him. Allah, Allah. What a good prayer. There's a second part of the prayer. We are praying it together. If the person that has been declared is the will of God and the choice of the people of this nation, may nothing stop him. No anger, no hatred, nothing stop him from accessing the throne. But if he is not, if he is not the will of God for this land and not the choice of the people, let nothing cause him to access the throne. Nothing. We wish everybody well. If the one that has been declared, lift your voice and say, Father, if the one that has been declared in our nation is the will of God and the choice of the people, let nothing stop him from accessing the throne. Let nothing stop him from accessing the throne. But if he is not the will of God and the choice of the people, let nothing cause him to access the throne. Let nothing. Open your mouth and pray. Father, if the one that has been declared over our nation is the will of God and the choice of the people, let nothing stop him from accessing the throne. Let nothing stop him from accessing the throne. But if he is not the will of God, let nothing make him to access the throne. Let nothing make him, absolutely nothing, make him to access the throne. Let us say, if he is the will of God and is the choice of the people, let nothing stop him. Let nothing stop him. Let nothing stop him from accessing the throne. But if it's not the will of God and the choice of the people, let nothing make him to access the throne. Oh Lord, in the name of Jesus. Let the separate satadina, exeperate sinana, exeperate setona, ikesifete pedagadista, ikaseperate sida, ikazadaletori, ikazadaletori, ikazadaletori. In Jesus' precious name.